the visual's a bit crap, I'll just have to go audio.
From sunrise until sunset, and dusk until dawn, every minute of every hour of every day, on the front line, it's key workers keeping our country moving, putting themselves at risk to keep others safe, for the vulnerable, for the sick, for the young and the old. We rise to the challenge. We care, we protect, we help, we fix, we deliver for everyone. We will get through this, and it's thanks to our key workers. We're proud to represent heroes, and not all heroes wear capes. Key workers deserve recognition, protection and support. Get us on your side. Join us today.
Good afternoon, welcome to Yodel Without Fear. I'm Steve Garrick from Gmb's London region, and I'm joined by some of my colleagues and reps today who are going to be helping out with some questions and answers, and we're going to be talking a little bit about what we do within Gmb, and hopefully answering some questions for you and giving you bigger insight. So let me do some introductions. First and foremost, let me introduce you to Gmb's National Officer. This is Gary Carter, who will tell you a little bit about what he does, and by way of introduction.
Hi, yes, my name's Gary Carter, so National Officer for Yodel. Also cover energy and utilities. So yeah, good to be here. Thanks for inviting me, Steve.
Thank you. I'm just going to put up Carl Ward, who's one of our national conveners, kindly joining us today from Gloucestershire. Hi, Carl. Carl, can you hear us okay? Carl might be muted. We'll try and bring him back in a second. It could be that he's frozen there. Can you hear us, Carl? We'll circle back to Carl. Just bring you back in, Martin Cox. Martin's camera's off at the moment, so we'll come back to Martin in just a minute. And basically, in the meantime, I'll introduce you to Cal from Gmb London region, who works over at Waltham Cross. Carl, do you want to just say hi, Carl? Looks like we're not doing very well on tech today. Can you hear us, Cal? You may be muted. So his mic isn't connected. Not an auspicious start for us here, but I'm sure once we get the gremlins sorted out for Martin, Cal, and Mark, I'll introduce them as we go along the way. Basically, for those of you who are joining us for the first time and want to know who or what we are, Gmb Union is the third largest union in the United Kingdom. We represent workers across multiple platforms, including, or sectors, I should say, really, from the British gas workers who are out on strike at the moment, down to school assistants, caretakers, and the like. We deal with members of staff in casinos, courier companies such as Yodel, Hermes, where we have recognition agreements, down to Uber and Addison Lee drivers, as well as a variance of industries and trades, from solicitors across the board to those individuals who are making sure your refuse is collected on a daily basis. I'll talk a little bit more about that as time comes in. Basically, just having a couple of highs here. There's just a high from Steve Robson and another from Simon Rush. And as questions come up, we'll be able to actually put them up in the background. I'm just going to introduce you in the meantime to Martin Cox. Martin, would you like to introduce yourself? You might be on mute at the moment, but do say hello and tell us who you are.
Oh yeah, I'm Martin Cox, one of the transport reps at the Yodel Hatfield site, and I've been a rep for about 4 years now.
And do you want to tell us about some of what you do at the company?
Yeah, I'm obviously employed as a driver, but due to the amount of ongoing union work, spend most of the time dealing with members' issues, liaising, trying to get issues resolved. And obviously, if we can't get them resolved, we have to sort of liaise quite a lot with Steve in the last year over certain issues, and we've sort of managed to escalate those to different areas and try and get them escalated there.
Great. So I think what I think Cal's back up now. So I'm going to just see if we can introduce Cal. Cal, can you hear us okay? Oh, no, he's frozen again. Unfortunately, some of the signals are not so good, especially for Carl and Cal today. But I'm sure we will get there. In the intervening period, I also wanted to say a big hello to those last mile crews who are out delivering. We have members who are doing deliveries from various depots around the London region to people's homes. They put up with a great deal. And we send our thanks out to you, especially on a day like today, which is going to be harder going than usual with the snow and obviously more difficult roads to contend with and slippery paths. I'll touch a little bit more on the work that you do later in the broadcast. And I just want to get some updates a bit more from Gary in his role and some of the things that he does as a organizer.
Cheers, Steve. Thanks for that. Yeah, so I with the national lay reps, I lead sort of negotiations within Yodel, and we did throughout pay. As you're probably aware, we had quite a time of pay negotiations this time, which started in June, and we only managed to resolve them shortly before Christmas. So yeah, led up the pay, and I think it took up a lot of time for the national reps and the local reps as well. We had 2 consultative ballots, ran in an industrial action ballot as well, and we had a good turnout from members across the regions. London region, as ever, very good turnout. People in Hatfield, very strong presence in those. But up and down the country, really good engagement from Yodel members and workers throughout that, and it really helped actually get the company back to the negotiating table, putting pressure on them to improve the pay. Well, we started off with a 0.75% offer, and we managed to slowly get that up. But if it wasn't for having a good membership and very strong reps, we wouldn't have got to actually being able to put pressure on the company and to get them to actually offer a much more reasonable pay offer. Did we get everything we wanted? No, but we got the company a long way from where it started out and where it wanted to be. So Gmb members standing strong, prepared to take action. Excellent. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you very much indeed. So I know we've still obviously got some teething problems with people's net connections today. I've got to put it down to the bad weather. We will touch on some of the cases that we've been dealing with. A couple we are progressing, and there is really a very important one, which is a claim which so far we've identified approximately 133 Yodel staff who have access to this claim, but we believe there are probably more. I think if Martin possibly would like to come in on that.
Yeah, basically, when the members are off taking annual leave or even sickness or even public holidays off, it seems the company don't seem to be paying people the shift allowance, which is entitled to be paid. Obviously, it's a contractual allowance. We've been through the documents ourselves, the sickness agreement, the public holiday agreement, and even nothing says you shouldn't be paid it whilst you're at work. But it is turning out that people aren't being paid it. So it's vital that people, even if you're unsure and you've checked your wage slip, you think it's right, go and speak to your local rep, get them to double check it with you, because they'll soon be able to identify exactly where the issues and what the issues are, especially if you've been on annual leave or sickness. Obviously, we can assist you from there to get yourself, get the grievances in and get it resolved as soon as we can.
That's wonderful. Just to say, I think we finally have liftoff with Carl.
21st technology.
What can I say? Would you like to tell everyone a little bit about yourself and basically what you do as a national rep and perhaps some of the involvement with London? That'd be great.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for that, Steve. I'm obviously Carl Walsh. I am the national rep for Sort Transport, and part of my remit is also some of the London region and service centres for Yodel. Part of my responsibility is obviously being elected into the position by my peers. I'm there to represent people at the directorship level with the company alongside national officers. In this case, it's Gary Carter, and with my colleagues Steve Jones and Steve Robson. Been sort of involved in union activities and work for probably the last 20 years. Not saying it's got any easier. The business itself hasn't got any easier to deal with. Every time we get a new group of people in, they seem to want to be meaner and meaner with our members. But that's basically roughly what I'm about and what I do for the GMB.
Thanks so much for that. I know Martin's gone off screen there, but hopefully he'll be back on soon enough. We've got a couple of hellos here. In fact, somebody from outside region, a quick hi from Craig, and then as you can see, clearly an HGV driver has joined us on here. This is somebody I know. It's Steve. Hi, Steve. Good afternoon to you. Welcome to the broadcast. Basically, the purpose of today's broadcast is to also tell people a little about the work we do as a union, how we can assist. If you're not a member, what we can do to help you along, and also what we'd like to know is what you're looking for from us as well. So it is a two-way street, today's broadcast. It is learning about what you're also looking for, what problems you might have at work with Yodel, whether you're working in PIG, whether you're a driver, whether you're a courier. We'd love to know. I did say that I was also going to tell you a bit more about some of the features that the union has, or some of the facilities the union has, in terms of what we do. One of those things is the fact we have a service for members that can get free wheel whiting. We have an organisation called Union Line, and what Union Line do is produce our legal services, and they actually give us the backup, so you can call Union Line pretty much over anything and any problem you've got with a legal perspective, and with that we can basically give you the help you might need with immediately. I'm just going to basically also tell you a bit more about the fact that there's multiple regions around the country. London region is just one of many. London region goes basically across from where Norwich is, all the way across towards Milton Keynes, all the way back down towards the Berks borders, all the way into Essex, and all the way into London. So it's a huge area, and we have members that we serve throughout that area altogether. So obviously, our key job is to protect you in instances where you have a problem in the workplace by way of grievance, or if a disciplinary matter comes up. If you're a courier, and I'll talk a bit more in the broadcast about that shortly, what we can do for you, how we assist couriers, and how we've got a growing band of couriers as one of the preeminent unions that acts on gig economy. Obviously, the worker rights case with Uber started at Gmb and has grown into, I suppose, an ever-moving story, as you can see, with what's happened to workers' rights and where we're going. And we have got some exciting news coming on that front as well. Some other hellos. Here we are, just a quick hello from W21 branch from Paul Maguire there, and another hi from Miss Burwood as well. So nice to see everyone joining us this afternoon. We're on 3 different platforms today, so we're allowing much easier access than some systems where you can only go on Facebook. Not everyone's got Facebook. Not everyone wants to be on Facebook. Some people are on Twitter, but they're not, and other people know they can just join us on YouTube without having to log into an account. So it gives lots of flexibility. And don't forget, anyone can ask questions. So if you've got a question, type it in. We'll put it up on the screen and we'll try and get an answer for you. I want to also just say at this stage that one of the other things that Union also offers is a thing called Gmb Extra. With our membership, that gives you discounts to various facilities around the UK, and other things such as National Express, Madame Tussauds, and things like that for when you're taking the kids out, all of their theme parks, as well as many other options, and also sort of discounts for car insurance with Liverpool Victoria, amongst others. So it's more than just that backup. It's a whole load of other services. Plus, at branch level, we have members who can lobby locally with their local politicians, as well as with national politicians as well. So we've got a lot of national MPs who are actually Gmb Union members, and they help us ask questions in Parliament, in the Scottish Parliament, and also the Welsh Parliament. So we have some flexibility there, and of course Northern Ireland as well. I shouldn't leave Northern Ireland out whatsoever. So we have members throughout all of those regions, as well as people in politics who can help us get your message across, which you see on a frequent basis. Now, I just want to go back briefly to Martin and just ask him if he could unmute briefly and just tell us a little bit more about claim. We can't talk specifically about this claim in too much depth for legal reasons, but something we do want members to look out for in terms of another claim that we've been looking at. Thanks, Martin.
Yeah, so obviously if you're off sick and the company asks you to do a welfare meeting, and then from that they wish to sort of take you down an AXA road. Now, we believe you have the option to carry out and do the AXA, or if you choose not to, you shouldn't be punished in any way. Unfortunately, the company tried to use the AXA against a certain individual, and because we've obviously taken him through the processes of the grievance and the appeals, we're now at a position where it's gone outside of Yodel, and it will be dealt with, and hopefully the individual should be not far off getting back the monies that he was owed from being off and being deducted any funds because he didn't wish to take part in the AXA itself.
Perfect, thanks for that. I've just got a couple of other highs. We've got a high here from Diane, and another Carl obviously has had some difficulty joining us on the feed itself, but hopefully next time around we'll iron out those issues. And we unfortunately lost Mark along the way. However, this is the first broadcast. We do intend to do these every so often because we're really keen to make sure there is a sort of a connect with the union and yourselves. And as I said, we can only really make that happen if you get involved and we're doing the right thing. So we'll see where we go with how frequently we do this. But I would like to make sure that we're engaging with you and you feel that you can hear back from us. And we know certainly it's one of the toughest times going for pickers at the moment, and those who are also working in warehouse facilities such as Yodels for packing away and unpacking vehicles and getting deliveries put together. And I just wanted to talk about the fact that the union's doing all it can to make sure that we're looking at social distancing and health and safety. And this is something that we take really seriously. If you think you've got a health and safety problem or you think something's not being observed, please reach out to us. It's the only way we can make change. And we are ultimately really worried about making sure that nobody has to go through the fear of COVID or any of the other issues that are coming up with regard to health. It's a question just come up from Simon. Simon just wanted a bit of explain about AXA because not everyone will understand what AXA is. So I'll perhaps let Martin explain that.
Yeah, basically, AXA is an outside medical company that the company decides to use to get their own independent value of somebody's health. So they will make, obviously, the arrangements from somebody from the AXA team to ring an individual. And at that point, you will discuss, obviously, your medical issues, as long as you've given your consent to that person, who will then basically give it to the company saying, yes, this individual's got Y and Z, this is where they can do, this is what they can't do. And from that point, then obviously, that's when hopefully you'd have your union rep involved at all points, so you can discuss any issues or anything that may worry you a little bit down the road with the AXA.
Thanks for that, Martin. Carl, would you like to tell us about some of the issues that come up for you nationally?
Yeah, I think we find the AXA actually is a bit of a double-edged sword, and I don't want to go and worry or scare people that may be on this this today, but AXA will determine with the to the company whether or not an individual is capable of doing their job. And one of the issues we have had with it is where the business use AXA. Well, I feel they use it in the wrong way, in not necessarily looking to do the best by being an individual, but using it as a capability route to release them from their contract. But I'm not. People shouldn't be afraid to go to AXA. I wouldn't say don't use the service because there are benefits to having it, but with AXA, we do find that the business can use it as a reason. Well, they would turn around and they would say to us, well, we can't put people's health at risk, and therefore we feel we need to terminate someone's contract. Sometimes I think it's an easy cop out for the company, if I'm honest, but it is an ongoing issue we have.
Thanks very much for that. In terms of thanks very much for that. I didn't realise I was muted, everybody, so my apologies. One of the other things I just wanted to touch on was some of the issues that couriers face. We know there is a huge problem over how the public perceive couriers on the work that they're doing. And I did want to make sure that we got the message out on the work that's happening, the work that we're doing to make sure that we represent couriers and self-employed to boot. I was originally a secretary of a professional drivers branch, and we started the Uber case, which moved towards the confirmation at court for worker rights. Obviously, Uber have challenged that at Supreme Court, and we're hoping for an answer on that shortly. What I can tell you is that we have got an agreement from another company that they respect worker rights now on a court case, and they've accepted our case for worker rights, and they're now signing up their workers on a contract. We've got some final paperwork to do on that, but we're hoping in the next week or two to confirm a full worker agreement with the company. Now, what that means is that we will be able to show other companies that this is the way forward, the correct way to be, and the more ethical way to be. At this stage, ultimately, what we want to do is see individuals with protections when they're going out to provide services such as parcel delivery. And without the work that you do, especially at the moment during lockdown, frankly, most of England, Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland would just basically grind to a halt. Most people can't get to shops. They don't have the facility to enjoy the chance to even go out even if they wanted to, just because of the safety issues that are surrounding all of this at the moment. And ultimately, your role is so important as a key worker, getting out there. So for that, we thank you. If you've got questions coming up on that front, please just put them in, and we'll get them up. Mark Cuthbert hasn't been able to join us back, but he has put this message that he is now just using Facebook to log in. Hopefully we'll have him on the next broadcast. And just also a comment from Simon, who put up the original question, had no idea he was oblivious to this. And just a message from Cal just to say, what are the benefits of members submitting to AXA, re-reviewing their medical records versus risks? Perhaps you could answer that, Carl.
Yeah, AXA. If you go through the AXA process and you give permission for AXA to contact your doctor will, on the issue that is involved, not your full medical history, but only on the medical history that needs to be discussed, that your doctor will afford the company the information about yourself. I said before, and I'll say it again, it can be, unfortunately, where it's, I do think AXA is a good thing, but it can be a double-edged sword. It can be used for the business to take responsibility for your welfare. And unfortunately, through that situation, it could be deemed that you're actually not medically fit to carry out the role that they ask you to do. And in the past, it's been a case of the company will not put you at risk, and therefore they will terminate your employment through ill health. And that's it in a nutshell, really.
Thanks for that, Carl. Tell me, I know we've got a situation at the moment where we have a particular member who has been working in a warehouse, and through no fault of her own, she's now got issues with her health. When you're in a situation like that, you are obviously straining and stressing as much as you are. Do we have any idea how often AXA are not necessarily getting it because they're not using doctors to look at this, rather than just asking physiotherapists to look at it, or do you have any data on that front at all?
Normally, the normal process is once you you fill out the relevant forms. Firstly, you can make sure you see the documentation before the company. You can give permission for your doctor to give the AXA. So it's not necessarily AXA guessing, if you like. They will have a phone conversation with you. It's very rare that you go to an AXA premise and actually see a medical expert or person regarding your ailment, they generally after the phone conversation, they rely on the doctor's information as to how they ask the company to proceed in looking after you.
So that is at least helpful, because I can say in some cases we're dealing with occupational health companies as a union where they're using a physiotherapist rather than a doctor to actually analyse things. And at the same time, especially with COVID, what we've discovered is obviously arm's length interviews where people can't make a physical examination, and this causes problems within itself. There's a point that's come up. I'm just going to pull up the point from Stephen Robson here. Some of our members only receive SSP and have the first 3 days deducted on what's called a cherry contract. How can members do the right thing if they can't afford to? Maybe Gary, you'd like to pick up on this.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. I mean, a good question from Stephen, a very good point, to be honest. And I know it's one that Steve was raising with the company in the week. I can only agree with that, and I think it's one of those issues that we need to pursue with Yodel. And I think it's an issue that has really come to the forefront, I think, nationally. Lots of questions are being asked by the Gmb and politicians, putting on the pressure to the company, putting pressure on the government to actually say, come on, look, you know, if you want people to self-isolate, and that's right, and you want people to stay off work because they may have COVID, their family members may have COVID, they need to self-isolate, then people's income needs to be protected. That is the right thing to do. If the government's going to spend money in the right direction, then that's one of the areas that it should be spent on. And I think also with Yodel, who has, you know, done very well during the pandemic because of the increased volumes, people are getting more and more stuff delivered from home. And, you know, we've got, you know, Yodel workers are doing a superb job, whether that's in sort centres, whether that's transport, whether that's last mile delivery. You know, those people are putting their lives on the line day in, day out, and have been for, you know, what is going to be pushing on for, you know, nearly a year now. And those people need income protection. You know, people, if they're self-isolating, if they're off with COVID, they shouldn't be thinking to themselves, I can't afford to be off. How am I going to keep, you know, food on the table for my family? They should be getting paid. So it's it's a really good point from Steve, and you know, one that we need to pursue with, you know, vigorously with the company. Thanks, cheers.
Thank you for that. In the meantime, Cal's just come back in, and he's just said that one of the people that I've been referring to have been waiting months for AXA to approve phased return to work. I think there's also a problem with some management not necessarily always getting it, and we are trying our hardest now also to explain to management where they are not quite getting it right. Just see, we're also joined by Mark Jackson. I'll introduce him in just a moment. He's based at Boreham Wood. Frozen up, but hopefully we'll get him back with us very shortly. And what I would like to just say is on another front, I still think it's highly disappointing that a proper thank you hasn't gone out to all of the staff and all of the self-employed couriers for all the work they've been doing during this period from Yodel. You know, a proper bonus or gift, some upside for everything that's happening. Plenty of other companies have done the right thing during this period. The revenues are sky high for courier companies at the moment. I know in Hermes' case, it's nearly 3 million packages a day going through their system. I hazard a guess that it's going to be something very similar with Yodel. And really, I think hopefully the one message I'd like to send out from the broadcast today is please do the right thing, because it's really necessary. I'm just going to introduce you to Mark here. Just there you go, Mark. Can you see us? Okay. Do you want to say hi?
Yep, fine, thank you. Hi.
Good. Hi. Do you want to just tell us who you are? And we only got the side of your head at the moment. You might have to just move your camera a bit.
I think it's a dodgy camera. I'm Mark Jackson from Bournemouth, Yodel Bournemouth. Been a rep for 30 odd years, on and off. Been a driver for about 25 years. Yeah, been there, done it. So got the T-shirt. And I agree totally with Steve that we have had no recognition with the company on what we've done this year, or for the last couple of years with COVID, and with the collections that we do as well, day in, day out, on the COVID side as well. So yeah, it seems to be
It is something that has to change. Just if you are joining us and you are just coming into the broadcast, we're talking about sort of all things Yodel this afternoon. Also, if you do want to join the union, there's a banner just rolling along the bottom of the screen at the moment, which tells you how to join up with Gmb Union. Obviously, during the course of the broadcast, also we'll make sure we get out some of the email addresses if you want to send out the email to us or an email to us. So you can see my email address is there. It's steve.garrick@gmb.org.uk. Martin Cox's activist account is there. If you need to reach out to us or to get to one of the other locations, drop us a line. We can put you in touch with those concerned or try and start to find answers for you. I'm just going to keep going for a little while longer this afternoon because I know we've still got some people joining us. I think the other thing I just wanted to perhaps ask everyone about whilst they're all here is some of the issues that people have been coming to you with, any of the issues that we're getting some good solutions on as well. So if I start with Martin first, and then we'll move round the group if that's good.
Obviously, we've had plenty of issues. Yeah, we've had plenty of issues. People's pay, that seems to be the biggest one at the moment. Lot of non-payment on certain days, bank holidays, when people are on annual leave or sickness. Like I say, that's the biggest one that we've had, and it's been a bit of an ongoing one since sort of June last year. Company are aware of it. Obviously, yourself, Steve, and Gary are also aware of that, and obviously we're looking to try and get a resolve once the company come back to us again. But that seems to be our biggest problem at the moment. We've just recently agreed that hope we can get the truck sharing drivers at Hatfield going again. Additional cleaning resources have been bought in, running through the day and into the night now, whereas previously it was only on the day shift. But now we've got cleaners sort of there 24/7 to keep the vehicles clean as we possibly can, obviously for the guys coming in to use those.
Perfect. I'm going to move on to Mark now. Do you want to just tell us some of the issues that you've been facing and some of the other issues that have come up?
The recent ones are coming up to do with COVID. We've 4 or 5 members of staff that have gone down with COVID symptoms and isolation. The last one was one of the ladies in the office just before Christmas. She went down with it, and it seemed to be that nobody really wanted to deal with it itself until it got to the stage where 2 or 3 other people were thinking they had symptoms, and then the management have dealt with, or the branch managers have dealt with what's going on, with a bit of pushing and a bit of shoving from myself. Bournemouth now is almost 80%, I would say, covered with the COVID collection. COVID now, where you have to wear a mask no matter where you go. It seems to be some people still want to push the boundaries a little bit, where they go, yeah, but I'm exempt because of this. What we've said to them is they need to come in with a badge saying that they're exempt from wearing from wearing the face mask itself, which then went from about 10 straight down to about 3, which is quite interesting when you sit there and you go, well, why didn't you all of a sudden not? Well, I can't really bother to go to the doctor and get a note to say that I can't wear them, and then they have no problems wearing a face mask, even though it seems to be a chin warmer at the moment. But we are rectifying that. There's to go. Other than that, there's not really much going on down with us. After the pay rise that we went through, a few members are asking when they're going to get it, and they start talking to majority of the time with them. It's just they don't read the notices that are put up from us reps, and I think that may be going around other branches as well, where they're asking, "Are we getting paid this? When we're getting paid that?" It's the way things are within the branches, and I think also no communication from the management down, from top brass downwards to us as well. Nobody knows what's going on, what the latest information is from the COVID situation mainly, which I think was causing most of the grief with most of the staff.
Thanks for that. I'm just going to...
Steve,
Steve,
can I just answer that though? I know Steve Jones on Friday, we had a meeting with the company, and there was a number of a Q&A, a new up-to-date Q&A document that was produced. That document, I know Steve Jones, national rep, sent it out to all of our reps on Friday, so they should have as much up-to-date information regarding COVID that was supplied by the company as from Friday gone.
So a question's just come up.
Yeah,
so
thanks, Mark.
I would also just say, whether you're a courier or working full-time for the company, there are notice boards up in most depots. If you've got questions, look out for the reps as well, or as I said, reach out to me. Points come up from Chris Burwood. I'm going to partly touch on this, but I think we'll all probably want to comment. Why has the company been so slow in dealing with the COVID situation regarding multiple sharing of vehicles and sanitation of vehicles? What I can tell you is, from my perspective, this is something that at the very early stages, back at the head of last year, I was already reaching out to not only Yodel but other companies, questioning the efficacy of what they were putting in place and what they were putting in place. I think a lot of companies were slow also to understand and pick up on some of these issues. It isn't unique to Yodel, I'm afraid. If you ask Gary will tell you that this is, I suppose, nationally being a problem. There's also been mixed messages from the government. We've had a situation where also individuals have chosen to make their own rules as they've gone along, as well as companies. We just heard it from Mark, where people think that it is a chin warmer to wear a face mask. If you've got the face mask, don't just leave it under your chin or your mouth or your nose. Put it on properly. If you can't wear one because you've got specific reasons, perhaps a face shield. If not, if it's just too risky for you, then perhaps you will have to withdraw yourself from the front line, because protection of others is everything. And walking around as a silent assassin when you don't know what you've got is, frankly, it's not being a good citizen. It's not being thoughtful towards others. And I would, really hazard a guess that there are many, many people who feel the same and feel the same worry when they come up in one of those situations. I don't know if any one of the others on the meeting this afternoon would like to also make some comment on this front.
Hi, Steve. Yeah, it's Carl again. We had a National Health and Safety meeting last week on Thursday, I believe it was, and this very issue about wearing of face masks and those personnel that may be exempt. My personal point or take on it is, if that individual is seriously medically unable to wear a face shield or a mask, I did say to the company that I believe they should furlough that individual. They should take them out of the working environment completely. And in fact, in Hatfield, Daniel Burt, the manager there, actually supported my comments on that in that meeting as well, because he felt the same, that if these people were too seriously medically disabled to wear, the proper protection, then the business should remove them from the sites. I think there is also the fine line. You've got to be careful that we're not seen to be penalising these people because of that situation, but for their own safety and for the safety of others, I think it's more sound care to say to those individuals, until such time, I think we should stand you down and remove you from the workplace. Just so that everyone knows that it has been a big talking point in the last National Health and Safety meeting that we held. And we did have an extraordinary National Health and Safety meeting that was set up. So,
thanks for that. Gary, I don't know if you've got anything to add on this.
I think it's been covered pretty well. I think what is clear, and probably looking at across the board at some of the other employers that I represent, including Yodel, is that we've seen more people, diagnosed with COVID this time round in this second wave than we did back in March. Whether that's members, whether that's reps, this particular variant, with measures in place, I think we've seen more people contracting COVID, and that's not a good situation. I think we continually, and since we've taken the opportunity to go back to the company. As Carl has said, there was an extraordinary health and safety meeting. We had an NJC meeting the week before, and we went back on COVID, and we will keep pushing that at a national level as it will get pushed at a depot level. It's important. It's an extremely important issue. It's probably the top of our list, and we'll keep going at it. And that will be at depot level. Whether it's out delivering parcels, we'll keep pushing what members are saying to us and making sure that the company takes notice of that. So keep feeding back, keep going at local level. We'll keep pushing at a national level as well. But it's a very serious situation, and we have to keep going at it. We can't be complacent.
Can I just touch again? Sorry, Steve. Steve, could I just mention pick up on the question from Chris, reference the vehicles. I'm a great believer actually in people power. This is what this union is about. I believe that the membership in Hatfield have proven to this business a good number of times now that if they sort themselves out and be the union that they are, they can push this company into doing things that they normally wouldn't do. So I would say to Chris that if the driving community in Hatfield are very unhappy with the way the vehicles are being looked after and the sharing of the vehicles, I would urge him to get other members to bring that to the reps at the local site, and first and foremost approach the local management to make their representation if they're dissatisfied and not happy with that outcome. Because unless that kind of action takes place, then the union struggle to be able to force the issue on. So it's the membership themselves that must bring their concerns first and foremost to local management and to the local reps, so the local reps can then move the actions forward.
Thanks very much for that. Just a couple of quick messages that have come up. One from Cal, just to let you know, yes, mail in to the Free Post Hendon and somebody will pick up membership forms. The offices aren't totally open, but as soon as we get there, we'll make sure that those are added on if you haven't sent them, but they are being picked up and they are getting logged on. But the best way to join is obviously online using the link below. gmb.org.uk/join-gmb, or just go to the GMB site, and if you search out Gmb Union, you will find the form there. It's very simple and takes minutes to get sorted out. There is a point that's come up from Mark, who couldn't join us, but he has put up this question, one from himself: shift managers not following procedures. I think this is a situation that is quite common, unfortunately, and not unique. It is something that we are trying to batten down on. I don't know who would like to pick up on this. Maybe Martin or Gary. We've lost Carl, unfortunately.
Yeah, Steve, this is something we suffer with quite a lot. I think it's poor knowledge, to be honest, which is what ends up leaving us in the position we're in. I don't know if we need to, or it needs to be escalated via the processes back to possibly a national level where Gary and the team there could take it up, but we are struggling at our site for understanding, and it just doesn't happen. We've had it on more than one occasion. Just don't understand the processes that need to be followed and the procedures that need to be followed, and just keep trying to sort of push stuff back, push it a day. So, yeah, I don't know if that's something we can get brought up on a different format and a different environment, then we can try and push it.
Yeah, Mark went on to say there was a grievance that was left in the manager's drawer for 2 weeks. Obviously, this is wholly inappropriate behaviour, and literally we'll have to grievance those grievances against the manager as well in an instance like that. Obviously, it's wholly inappropriate. Another question's come up from another Steve. Why do I feel so undervalued at Yodel when there's a shortage of drivers nationwide? Yeah, we all know that for HGV, there's just not enough to go around, and the same with LGV drivers, and even agencies are finding it hard to fulfil positions. Although also we've got this added problem that some companies are now not bringing in from Europe freight because of the huge issues that are in existence on that front. I don't know if anyone's got a particular view on this or comment they'd like to make based on what Steve's just saying here.
Yeah, for me, I think when we talk about Yodel, we don't talk about the people that actually work for Yodel. Those people who work for Yodel are damn good people. They work hard, they do their jobs to the best of their abilities all of the time. I know of some people who've been with this company an awfully long time, and I can totally get and understand why they do feel undervalued, because you can have other persons come and work for this company who are outsiders, and they do get treated better. But let's be absolutely clear, when we talk about Yodel, we're talking about the people from a directorship management levels that represent Yodel, not those people who work for them. Those people who work for Yodel are damn good people, and they're the ones that keep this company, going forward and give it, the reputation that it's actually got now. And Yodel's reputation has become very, very good over the past 6 to 8 months. Extremely good. It's gone well up in the marketplace, and that's down to the people who work for Yodel, who work in Yodel.
Well, I think this comes back to the point that was being made earlier. It is about respect of each other, but it's also respect for the company, and also I think also in terms of the general public now, they're starting to understand that the couriers are certainly part of their lifeline, along with all of the other individuals who are out there doing work to make sure that the whole of the United Kingdom can get through this. We're unprecedented time, and obviously with great kudos to all of the health workers who are putting their lives on the line every single day. But those who are making sure that people can get various items delivered to their homes when they can't get into shops, unfortunately have been forgotten of on more than many occasions, and it now is starting to become abundantly clear without them many people just wouldn't manage. So I think that is a positive point. There is just a quick couple of points that Mark's just saying, great shout on that. In terms of Steve, obviously, we're trying to make sure we've got your back as well as long as with everyone else. Obviously, we're keen to make sure that the couriers get all the protections they can, and we want to beef those up with the company as well, because without them, Yodel is nothing. Without the items actually getting to people's front doors, Yodel doesn't really potentially have a business. Our relationship as a union goes back many, many years to before Securicor Amiga, which some of you may remember the vans of, but obviously the dynamic of delivery now has changed, immensely, and we are really seeing an advancement in the trade that wasn't really expected. I think everyone thought it was going to take another 3 or 4 years to get to this stage where online retailing and the like became the norm. But obviously, with the decimation of the high street, which is obviously unfortunate, many people have changed their way of shopping or their way of interacting with shopping, and I think that will continue. I'm mindful that an hour's nearly passed so quickly. So what I'm just going to quickly do is bring Gary back in just to see if he's got any comments, and just everyone else before we round up and finish off.
No, I think some really good points, and I think Carl's point around, and your point, Steve, around, the respect for and the amount that Yodel workers do, and and how hard they work, how much they put into the company, I think is a really, really good one. The key worker thing, and that recognition, I think are really, really important. I mean, and going back to the initial question, I think from Steve, and I think it's a very good question, and one that Steve may want to comment on himself, is why he feels undervalued, and what we can do, because I think we're quite happy to take things back to the company and say, look, what do the Yodel need to do to actually improve how people feel, and if people feel undervalued, what Yodel needs to do. So Steve may have some thoughts on that himself, and other people may have some of their own opinions and thoughts. But if people feel undervalued, then it's Yodel as the organisation has a responsibility to actually improve things. But as Yodel's workers trade union, we're here to make sure that Yodel take notice of the workforce and take notice of our members. So we're more than happy to go back to Yodel and at the end of the day and say, look, this is what you need to do to improve things. So feed that stuff back in. We'll take things back to the company, but we want Yodel workers to feel respected and valued at work, and that's really, really important to us. You want people to go to work and feel enthused to go to work, or feel valued and respected at work. So if people don't, more than happy to take those issues on, and I think it's really important that people are members of the GMB, and that we're acting together on behalf of people. So thanks, Stephen. It's been really good today.
Thank you, Gary. Just going to bring Carl in quickly.
Turned it off.
There you go.
Yeah, I think you're right, Steve.
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, good. Just endorse Gary and what he's saying. The respect for the people that work in Yodel needs to be of its highest standards, really. And if people are feeling disrespected and let down by the company, then by all means, bring it to our doors so that we can make the relevant representation to the company. I do have a great empathy with what Steve's saying, because we see and hear it on a day-to-day basis, how disrespectful the business can be to people, especially some of the people who've worked for this company an awfully long time. So yeah, quite happy if people are feeling, that the business aren't doing right by them. Please let me know.
Yeah, there's just a comment that's just come up. Too many businesses don't acknowledge the value of their workers. I think this could be something that the union should highlight consistently for the good for all workers wherever they work. And I think Simon's right on the money over that. This is unfortunately the way we are. Mark's just added in a point that basically HR need to stop protecting managers that don't perform and make changes to help improve morale and work ethics, especially at Hatfield. Simon said that thanks for putting this together to me and everyone involved. We're really happy about that. Can I bring in Mark Jackson quickly? I don't know if you've got any other final comments just before we round off this afternoon. He's just trying to. We need you to unmute, Mark. Unfortunately,
it's just my pad on my because I'm dropping out.
Please unmute. Word of the year.
Yeah, I think it's. I agree with everything that's been said there. As couriers and all the way back up to the trunk drivers and the warehouse staff really need to be treated with a bit more respect than. Yeah, I don't know how we can work on this to get this so we can get a bit more respect. Yeah, we're working politely putting it, working ourselves to the bone with what's going on at the moment. Williams are up and down like a yo-yo, but we are getting there. Yeah, I think respect to every courier in all the branches around the country needs to be brought to a head. And we'll have to work on that as we go along. I mean, every rep was working with everybody else on the shop floor. And I think that's the way it should go with the reps. And staff get through this sticky situation at the moment.
Thanks very much for that, Mark. Just going to go to Martin Cox for his comments. I think Martin may have frozen, unfortunately. Looks like Martin's frozen. If he when he comes back in, if I can see him wave, I'll try and go back. Just a quick couple of other comments that have come up. Hopefully, Martin.
Just sort of pretty much the same as everybody, really.
We've lost you a bit, Martin. Hopefully we'll grab you back. We only caught a bit of your words. Whilst we're just waiting for you to get the signal back there, Carol's just come back with, while Yodel use agency, we're treated as expendable. I think there's some value to that. And one of the other points I'd just like to say before I come back to what Chris is saying here, that management are listening in on this afternoon. If not this afternoon, they will look back to it. The message that we are trying to send out here is that everyone wants to work together, but what you're hearing here is that there are people who are not feeling 100% as happy as they could be. Morale is really important, and it's a two-way street. We will work with you to make sure that happens, but we've got to have the conversation, and that is the same for any organisation that we're dealing with across the country. Morale is everything, and some people forget that people just need even a congratulations, a thanks, and sometimes a bit more, even a bonus would make a difference. Some comments here from Chris Burwood. We are getting things moving regarding vehicles, and I'm determined to keep this going, especially in these difficult COVID times, as the vehicle condition and cleaning has been an ongoing problem. I think we all know that this is an issue, and we all want to make sure it changes. But I'm mindful that it's over an hour now, but I wanted to just thank everyone for joining us this afternoon from taking out their Sunday. If you think this has worked well, please put something in the comment section either today or whenever you see this. Please feel free to reach out to us. Look for contacts on Gmb London region's website. Look at any of the other regions. look for our names and search us if you need to find a way to reach out to us if you can't do it immediately. We want to be here to help you. We want to look out for the couriers who need a big hug from all of us for the work that they're doing, obviously socially distanced at this stage. I want to thank all of those who are carrying out work in the warehouse, on the routes, all of the workers on the periphery who aren't always given a big thumbs up and thank you to as well. Basically, we are going to do all we can to give you the backup. Join us at the link below. We'd love to see you. And basically, all I'd say now is have a wonderful rest of weekend, and we hope to see you again soon. Thank you.
From sunrise until sunset, and dusk until dawn, every minute of every hour of every day, on the front line, it's key workers keeping our country moving, putting themselves at risk to keep others safe, for the vulnerable, for the sick, for the young and the old. We rise to the challenge. We care, we protect, we help, we fix, we deliver for everyone. We will get through this, and it's thanks to our key workers. We're proud to represent heroes, and not all heroes wear capes. Key workers deserve recognition, protection and support. Get us on your side. Join us today.